are live.
All right. Uh, Topics. What's up, man? Welcome back to Hard Reads. If this is the first time we've done a show in a while, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, uh, again, I'm TK. This is Austy, and we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Free Melee and Save Smash, two popular hashtags that have come out over the last week because of some of the things that we found out about the dealings with Smash and Nintendo. So we are going to discuss that. But first, before we get into all that, how you doing, Austy?
Doing good. We haven't done the show in a while because there hasn't really been too much to talk about, but a lot has happened this past week, huh?
Yeah,
So,
a lot has definitely happened in the
mm,
past week. I'm kind of on the, I don't know. I feel like I'm on the spot where I'm in like the middle uh when it comes to like what's going on with this say Smash and Free Melee and stuff, because I feel like I'm seeing a lot of the shades of Evo when Smash Ultimate got canceled, and then everyone banded together to make sure that Melee didn't get canceled, and then Melee went on to continue to have like people who were like shitting on the other games.
mm,
So I'm I don't know. I'm just I have I have thoughts, but I'm gonna wait until we get into the topics to really discuss them.
word.
So
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like for those that are unaware of the hashtags going around, the hashtag Free Melee started because of Nintendo canceling or sending a cease and desist to the TOs of the Big House that was going to be online this weekend and or last weekend, whatever weekend it was. And Big House went out with the announcement saying, "Hey, we're not allowed to do this because they're using a program called Slippy, which is that online program that allows them to run Melee online with rollback, and it basically feels like offline. It's the closest thing we're going to get to a real competition within Melee during a pandemic. So Vens have been running it for a long time since Slippy was conceived. So it was kind of a little bit shocking that we saw the cease and desist come towards Big House of all things. So and then that started like a whole chain reaction once that happened. That like it was some random Twitter account that just made a burner account to release all the info about how Nintendo has actively worked against the Smash community to cancel events or cancel circuits or make sure circuits don't get off the ground, essentially. And that's where the hashtag Save Smash came from. So both those hashtags, if you're a part of the Smash community, you should probably be rocking both those hashtags at some point in time.
Yeah. I'm thinking like so what like is kind of interesting to me about this is that like I don't think that Free Melee is like really capturing the I guess the non-severity of what's going on. Like one tournament's been canceled so far, and
Right.
but like at the same weekend, in the same weekend they ran Summit, right? And
Which
Summit didn't
ran
get
Slippy.
canceled. Yeah, which ran Slippy. So I think that mostly what happened was that because Big House has had a relationship with Nintendo in some way, that
Yeah.
now Nintendo feels like they have like stake or claim in the way they run their tournaments and whatever. And like, yeah, that's definitely messed up. But I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy overreactions to this so far. Like, I think that people fighting for the fact that Melee should not have been canceled is 100% valid. It should not have been canceled. I think that that's just Nintendo and their archaic, uh, you know, laws and practices and things like that.
Right.
But there's people going out and getting tattoos of Free Melee.
I
You
saw
need a
that.
tattoo of a hashtag on your arm
A
that
hashtag, bro.
a hashtag, bro. Like, I mean, social media in a couple years may not even like exist like that. Hashtags may not even be a thing, and now you're here with this ancient history on your arm, where it's just like it's a knee jerk reaction. Like it's a knee jerk reaction, and I feel like it's a reaction if Melee, if Nintendo said we never want Melee played anywhere ever again, then I could see, all right, that that's the level of hurt that I need to see before someone goes out and gets a tattoo for it.
Like Sakurai
But
himself is
right now
coming
it's just
door to
one
door.
tournament. It's one tournament this year, and um like yeah, it definitely sucks that it's Big House because Big House is such a staple tournament in
Yeah.
in the Smash community. It's been popping off for literal years. And it's been one of Melee's biggest turnouts for like every year. It's like, you go to Genesis, you go to Big House, right? And so watching them getting canceled over that is definitely like the whole thing getting canceled it sucks. So like it trickled down. It was like, it was free Melee, but then it was like, you know what, we're canceling your whole tournament, right? So in that aspect, yes, it is very, very trash. But I do think, again, that at the end of the day, it is one tournament. I don't see anything else getting canceled yet, but hopefully it doesn't trickle down into more things being canceled in the future. You know what I mean? Because like, again, same weekend, same weekend this thing got canceled, a whole nother tournament ran on Slippy. So I'm kind of like, where I don't know what we're freeing right now, because it seems like the only things being held down is Big House. Like free Big House sounds more of an appropriate hashtag than free Melee to me right now.
I think the reason they chose free Melee was because Melee is like a wider known term than Big House. Like people who don't watch competitive Melee probably don't know what Big House is, but they know what Melee is. So I feel like that's why that was the one that was chosen. On top of the whole, like you said, trickle down, they're afraid this is like the first of many to come in the future. I think this one was picked because they had a relationship with Nintendo. They were partnered. I could see if Genesis decides to do an online next year that they could probably cancel that one as well, because Nintendo has partnered with Genesis as well. So right. It's such a weird gray area, right? Because like technically by the law, Nintendo's in the right. Like they have the rights to send this off. Like it says in this cease and desist, they would win that case because they are using their program technically in a legal way, because it's not Slippy.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of technical in here though, because the technical part from the community side is that technically it is actually totally legal to back up games that you own. So if you can prove that you have a copy of Melee and that you ripped the ROM or the ISO from that copy of Melee and didn't download it, then like you're in the rights to play Slippy. The issue is that like it is very obvious that not everybody has done that, but like there's also it's a very long process to prove that. So it's a stalemate. It's like we can continue to say, no, we all own Melee Disc, and then Nintendo's going to be like, we'll prove it, and then we can just be like, no, we don't have to do that. Yeah. So like the stalemate right there is that like, yeah, I mean, there's no give or take on that in that ground. I think that topic or that part of whatever Nintendo would want to do is never going to be able to hold too much weight, because the only way they'd be able to prove that is to like literally go to everyone's house somehow, and like they're just not, that's just not going to happen.
It's like a gray legality area, because like ROMs and emulators are already really friggin' gray, because I always was under the assumption that emulators are legal. And I did some research after this all happened, and I looked into it. And apparently emulators are still like being fought against technically, because like technically they're legal, but technically they're illegal as well. I know for a fact that if you own a copy of Melee and you download an ISO of Melee online, even though you own that copy of Melee, that is illegal. You have to upload that disc to your computer, which I assume no one is doing, because that's a lot of work. You have to have like the CD drive, you have to put it in. It's a mini CD, so it's like even more difficult if your computer can even run it. Like I doubt anyone's doing that. So it's such a legal gray area, and Nintendo would win the case. But that's the long story, is that Nintendo has a butt ton of money. They would win the case, and they're chasing after a company, Big House, which isn't known for being lucrative. So.
But I think the biggest issue of it is just like, why does Nintendo continue to work against the Smash community? Even it seemed like near the beginning of 2019 or just around 2019, they started to like kind of throw us bones. They were starting to sponsor tournaments, stuff like that. They were showing right before Ultimate came out, they were showing up with demos for Ultimate and stuff, and like that was really cool. What I mean? Like it's like, all right, we get to play a little Ultimate before we actually. Now I think that was 2018 or
2018,
whatever,
yeah.
But yeah. So like they came to Big House, had the demo going on. It was cool. All that was great. But then like now it's like they just regressed back to it's like almost like they regressed all the way back to Evo 2013. It's like, yeah, man, we're here to stop y'all again. For what reason? Like what? There's no the issue is like they're not losing money for having the Smash community be active, but they're also not gaining or they're not also not losing money really for canceling tournaments. And I think that's like where they're at right now. They're like, look, we could do whatever we want because at the end of the day, even if you guys, the Smash community, doesn't buy the next Smash, it's still one of the largest selling games on Nintendo ever. So yeah, I mean, if we decided to try to boycott the next Smash, it's still gonna like make record breaking numbers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so just I feel like Nintendo knows, like, it's a big business thing where they're flexing the fact that they know that they're a big business and they won't, and they don't have to succumb or cater to the likes of their fans. Is that cool? Fuck no. Like, I think that's really whack. I think that like you have a really dedicated fan base that rides hard for their game of almost 20 years. And then every other game between then. And y'all are still looking at us like, nah, we don't want to help y'all, but we'll help out these other games. You know, we'll help out ARMS. We'll help out Splatoon, but not Smash. So I don't know. Like, as a Smasher, throughout the years, it sucks. But I also, on the flip side, this year specifically, I understand why Nintendo would take actions and step back out of certain things. Right. Seeing that, you know, if you guys, I mean, it hasn't been that long ago, but in the summer, a lot of people got blasted. A lot of big names, a lot of like community faces got blasted. And as a big business, I would understand if you wanted to distance yourself from said people / community. So this year only can I like at least somewhat see where, like, why they would like kind of be a little more reserved, a little more stand back or standoffish. But that's literally 1 year out of like the 7 years that they've been kind of like fucking us. Basically,
doing this since Brawl, bro.
Yeah.
With MLG.
Yeah. Well, I can't even say 7 years. More like, I mean, it's since 2008. Yeah.
2008, baby. Like, that's it. I don't like. I read the whole like TwitLonger thing that came out that Burner Account put out, and that stuff hurt to read, dude. Like, because like
for sure.
I knew some of that, like, you know, we hear about this stuff when you're just like involved in the scene, that some of those things, but I didn't know all of that, like all of that coming to light was like, whoa, some of it, but like, so I can collaborate that some of that was true, but like a majority of that I did not know about, and reading that and seeing that come out and people quote retweeting it and saying that, yeah, this is, they did the research. It's a little wild that, how active they fought against it. And I think it comes from a place of not understanding from like the higher ups of Nintendo. It comes from a place of like, they want Smash to just be this game. They want it to just be a game that they sell very casually. They don't want to seem like they're too hardcore by supporting the competitive scene, because the second they start supporting the competitive scene, then that's going to be like, that's the correct way to play Smash, right? 1v1, no items on these very limited stages. That's the correct way to play Smash. Not this other stuff that we added in the game. Like, there's so much to the game that we don't even explore because of the competitive side. And if they were to support it like super openly, I think that would distance themselves from the people who do buy it for casuals. So I get the decision, but they're still going about it so terribly. So
right. Tesseract says that did happen, but people from Evo got blasted as well. So you think every other company would want to distance themselves from the FGC? I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that Evo is its own company, and so since shit happened to Evo, you would distance yourself from Evo. There's still a million other FGC tournaments that you can join into. Combo Breaker, CEO, they could become the next Evo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have all your Big E events. You have all your Shem Blanca events, if he's still running events. I'm not sure if he is. You have esports arena events every now and then. You have televised events with E-League. Like, they have other avenues. It's just happened to be that Evo is the one that everyone knows. But yeah, I mean, like, if you watched the action that happened right after, you know, the people from Evo started getting blasted, a lot of commentators and gaming companies stepped back out of Evo. So, like, they did the right thing in comparison to what I think should have happened when it came to Evo. It's like, wow, the guy who runs Evo is shitty. All right, then we're going to step back. I saw Sageham say, I'm not commentating Evo this year. I think Arxis decided they were pulling themselves out of Evo. A lot of stuff, a lot of people jumped out of Evo, for sure.
Every commentator did. I remember every commentator made a statement about it.
Yep.
Because I had some commentator friends who were getting a huge opportunity with Evo, casting one of the newer fighting games. And he's like, man, I gotta step back. It would have been like a huge boon for him, and he wasn't able to do it because of the news coming out because people got to stick to their guns, you know. So everyone stepped
Yeah.
away from that.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm glad that people did step away. Like, you know, you can't like allow, you know, shitty people to continue to prosper, especially in the way that Mr. Wizard was prospering. I mean, that man was making literal bank off of Evo and not putting like any of it back. I feel like I don't know, man. Like Evo, for as much money and as important and as prestigious as Evo is, I feel like it should be even bigger than it was. Like now, when they started adding the stadium, that was sick for sure. But I feel like there was even more that they could have done throughout the years that Evo was growing and getting bigger and having record-breaking number of tournaments and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so free melee. I'm definitely with the movement because I don't think that any tournament should be getting blasted, but I think that right now the reaction is a little too high skewed for what we've seen so far. I think that we right now the only thing that has been held down this year has been Big House. So every other tournament that has ran this year has been fine. Nintendo hasn't said anything, at least to my knowledge so far. Now, if they continue to work against the Smash community, then Free Melee should definitely take off and go even harder. I mean, I've seen some cool stuff coming out already. I think that what was that Ludwig is going to do a charity tournament. Slippy, that's going to be lit.
Literally just baiting Nintendo. Like it's like, hey, I dare you to cancel this freaking tournament with like for charity. Like I dare you.
Yep.
What a god.
So, but as we move forward, we're gonna go talk about Save Smash now. That's encompassing the whole thing. Wait, hold on. Actually, let me go right back.
Sure.
Before we get into Save Smash, I did see a tweet from Leffen talking about, see now, everyone's always thought that like, you know, Melee was in it for themselves, but we've been fighting for the entire community the whole time. That's not true. That is like, I'm sure that I can go back at any point in time. I can go back through his tweets and find a time where Nintendo supported Ultimate in some way, and then he had something to say about the fact that they didn't support Melee. So, like, why even lie? Like, it's okay to admit that, like, we're here for Melee. Like, it's the same shit that happened with One Unit. You know, we were One Unit until it worked, and then we weren't One Unit anymore. So, like, just, like, you don't have to lie. Like, we don't want any game to go down. Like, I don't want any Smash game to go down for any reason. So, I'm one of the people who can enjoy and will play every Smash game. But even if I wasn't one of those people who could enjoy and play every Smash game, I still wouldn't want to see any game go down. I think that's just a waste of time. It also hurts the community as a whole if we just eradicate a whole section of it. You know, you have your Ultimate section, you still have your PM section. You still have you got your Melee section. You got 64 players. You got Brawl players. You got Smash 4 players who are mostly just Ultimate players, but will still go back and play Smash 4. I don't want to see anybody like not be able to play their game. Like play what you want, but just don't fucking lie about it, man. Like like.
I definitely agree, dude. Like I saw that too, and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I definitely thought it.
Anyway, so moving forward, Save Smash. There was a guy who came out, an anonymous Twitter account that came out with. I think there's actually another. I just saw. Tantalus tweet something, but I think there might be another thing. But there's a guy who came out. He had a lot of inside information, or at least he talked to a lot of people. It says Free Melee and Save Smash from a former Nintendo rep. So let me mark. And so this is actually pretty long. He says, "Let me start by saying I back you guys 100%. Next, Nintendo treated me well during my employment with them. I worked specifically for NOA. And I was one of the people you'd see with a booth and free swag at Best Buy or GameStop. I'd update the demo units to see in stores and would help provide guidance on displays and planos for retailers. I guess plans for retailers. I provide proof, but they take our ID badges when employment is done, and all I have left are some old pictures of me working that I don't feel safe sharing. That's fair. That being said, my job was very public facing. Even before the pandemic, I'd be traveling across the state to hold events for new upcoming releases. One of my favorites was when we were pushing Bravely Default, and I was at the retailer the whole day. I had no one until 2 random dudes showed up and let me take pictures. And I gave them all one. I gave them one of all the swag I had at the time. All right. So before I continue to read this, the one thing I am a little skeptical about all these Anon accounts coming out. Right, like it's hard to because people do weird shit like this. People will fabricate full stories,
For attention.
to continue to blast Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading this, and I'm not going to disbelieve it, but I am taking it with a grain of salt just yet. Because I mean this is the second Anon account that has come out,
Right.
about Nintendo.
And
But anyway,
that's what's gonna happen though, is the anon accounts will happen because they're scared. Like I get that. So it's like we
yeah.
don't know if it's valid or not. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. I mean, like that's. I mean, I wouldn't want to like blast Nintendo too, because I'm sure that's in their contract to like once you leave, shut the hell up. But
Yeah.
like, but anyway, uh, so as it says, but that leads me into. Okay, so that being said, my mom just said that. All right, but that leads me into what I want to talk about. Nintendo is all about control. For those pictures, I had to make these guys look like they were having a blast playing a turn-based RPG. Corporate loves these fun photos because they can use them for promo. If they can't use it to market, they don't want to. The philosophy spreads throughout the entire business. I ran a few of the promos in store. Tournaments for Smash 4 Ultimate. We were given a few very specific rules about players, particularly melee players. We were told that if melee players showed up, we had to accommodate them and let them try the game, even if they were mostly hostile to us about it. Okay. I didn't have anyone with be that way directly to me, luckily. Anyway, we were supposed to carefully control the narrative about the game during the demo event by trying to keep the hype going and making sure people were having fun, even if they weren't actually having fun. We let people record, but not stream, but we couldn't verify it anyway. And if anyone was a decent sized influencer, they'd get a bit more time because we conveniently forget their timer or something to that effect. Make no mistake, Nintendo is devilishly cunning when it comes to how their products are seen. But let's say we had someone come up and start just trashing the game and saying Melee is better. Those guys got their time cut short. We were not told to let them hang around. We were told to ask store staff to remove them if it continued. I don't think anyone even had to, because that would have been a PR nightmare. But Nintendo is very aware of Melee players and their less than stellar reputation. We were told not to mention the possibility of them running their own tournaments to the players, but fuck you, I did it anyway. Okay. I had several mom and pop stores reach out to me about prizes for tournaments, and no matter how many times I asked my boss, I'd get crickets. I eventually just gave up, gave them some swag I had, but they technically came from my own promo stuff. Like this link between World's Chest that held 3DS games and played the Zelda noise when you opened it, or an old promo display we were told to toss. Eventually, focus shifted away from the smaller areas as I was instead moving to bigger companies with events that had a bit more staff and control. The rules stayed the same. Get people talking about the current games and current hardware. We were eventually explicitly guided to not work with any tournaments who were wanting to stream any old games or old games alongside Ultimate. If we were caught doing so, we risked termination. As my time with the company came to a close, I could care less about the rule and just began giving some employees some products to give anyone who was asking for prizes. The few tourneys Nintendo ran were always laughed at amongst employees because they ran such garbage rules. But Nintendo eventually saw that they can give minimal prizes and keep players invested while also having complete control of their own stream of video. And that's the whole thing. This is all about control and keeping your mind with the latest and greatest. They want to run their own tournaments with their own tiny prizes that can use advertiser game in future DLC. I know my story isn't a big scandalous bombshell. It is not. But I just want to show how much Nintendo had their ears to the ground, even if they don't actually show it. They're watching, listening to you guys, and they have made it clear that they don't want you around because this may shock people. You're not helping their bottom line. Melee doesn't drive profitable sales at all. Either way, you guys are keep fighting. Okay. Well,
interesting.
That one didn't really. I don't really feel like anything happened in that. Like that's just marketing. Like, of course they want to market the newest thing that they're putting out. What do you? And also, that's marketing on two different sides. Like, if anybody came into the store and immediately was like, they played Ultimate and was like, man, this game is fucking trash, right? And it wasn't even like a Melee player. It could have just been, I don't know. It could have just been a PlayStation All-Stars player. You're still going to want that person not in the store, like talking to other people whilst you're trying to demo your great game. So I don't really know what this guy's point was.
There was nothing shocking about that statement. Like, it was just like
not even a little bit.
Like, it was like that. That's like what normal companies do. Like, and I feel like every video game company has probably done something along those lines. Maybe not to that degree, but have done something along those lines. Like, I'm not shocked by that. It looks like they're just trying to add, just try to add to the narrative, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, so here, Tantalus actually quote tweeted says, so as an FYI, Nintendo typically hires firms for these type of things. For instance, the E3 Nintendo booth workers are paid models.
That's
the
true.
People who did the Smash and NWC events, Nintendo World Cup events, are at Best Buy were contractors. The story seems a little off compared to the rest. I think, see, you see what I'm saying? No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
they're trying to push this narrative. Like,
yeah, it's I feel like I have to take some of this stuff with a grain of salt. Like,
yeah,
because it's one, you're Anon, and two, now other people are saying it doesn't even match up. So like I don't know, man. Like
that's why I like the first one more, because people quote retweeting it were saying like, yeah, this is true, or like a lot, like, so I can comply. But this one, literally, there's already been someone who just, like Tantalus, someone we know and trust, literally just said this doesn't seem right. Something's fishy about this. Plus, it doesn't help the case at all, and they just said generic stuff. So, yeah, basically what we're trying to say is try to look at these things with, a brain. Try to like make your own judgments. Don't just take truths as convenient truths, even though you really want to, because you want to help, push the good fight. Like, just, anyone can make this. I could have made that tweet. No, like DK could have made that tweet. Any of us could have. So
yeah, but I think the thing about Say Smash, the biggest thing is that, like, yes, over the years, the proven stuff that we've seen so far, Nintendo has definitely been
100%.
In the like stifling Smash. In comparison to any other fighting game or tournament series that has backing, Nintendo is definitely not helping us. And like they finally started helping, like in a way, last year or 2 years ago. But even then, that's not really help. That was still them pushing their own narrative at our place. Like it was like Big House was already established, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that was already a good tournament series. To get a demo of Ultimate there is really cool. But what is that going to provide for the actual tournament outside of potentially distracting people from playing their tournament matches, right?
Attendance.
Like, I mean,
some people probably go just to play Ultimate.
But I think Big House already had a lot of attendance right there. So what are they? I mean, it's not like they caught an extra 2,000 people,
right?
Like they probably caught an extra 100, 200 or something like that. But and that's still nice. But they were already going to be successful without it. So like, Save Smash to me is a better hashtag than Free Melee because it has been a long-standing thing that Nintendo has been actively working against all Smashes. Melee has just been getting the brunt of it because of the fact that it's the oldest game that is getting that has got so much traction. Melee is a 19-year-old game, still gets record-breaking numbers for tournaments, still has a very solid fan base, still gets picked up for tournaments where everything else is being played on LEDs or LCDs and monitors and stuff, and here we are with our our tube TVs still. So like to be able to do that is amazing. That is a feat for sure. But overall, all Smash is hurting. Melee has been getting a lot of the brunt for sure, but all Smash is hurting. If you read that tweet longer where that guy went through the events and showed how Nintendo either like they ghosted, they actively shut it down, or they just didn't provide enough to make it work. And, we saw the thing with Ninja. We saw the thing with Red Bull. We saw that thing with Twitch where we heard about it for like 2 years straight. There was supposed to be a Twitch.
Bro, I heard about that in 2016. Like,
Yep, and it just never happened. And then the last thing that came out recently was that if it wasn't for COVID, they would have tried to shut down the Smash World Tour. I don't know how true that is, because I would have hoped that Gimmer had, like, Gimmer has connects that he can talk to with Nintendo. Like he ran some of their events before. So I'm hoping that was kind of more of like a hearsay, like a rumor. But weirdly enough, I can't deny that is something that could have happened. I can't be like, well, I don't think Nintendo would do that, because I do think they would do something like that. Like Smash World Tour was slated to be large as hell. Like it was going all over the place. And I could see if Nintendo's willing to shut down just Big House, why they wouldn't want to shut down a whole tournament series,
Especially because I thought, didn't they approach Jabali and ask him to remove CEO Dreamland from the circuit, not because of COVID, but because of Nintendo? I was under the impression of that. So
yeah, I think that's what also what I heard in that Ludwig thing as well. So unfortunately, COVID did put a damper into a lot of like the forward movement for everybody. To be honest, not even just the Smashers community or just streamers, fighting game communities, other like anything that required a lot of like offline gameplay kind of got halted. So stuff like League can still run tournaments online, sure, whatever. Yeah. Your Overwatches, your Valorants, all that good stuff.
Brawlhalla.
Brawlhalla. But even then, the Brawlhalla people still don't even like playing online as much as. We feel like their netcode is good because our netcode is terrible. But like even then, they still have issues with their own netcode. I've been playing a lot of Brawlhalla recently. Obviously, I don't really have an issue with it. But then again, I'm not a super high level player, so maybe I just don't see it.
Have you ever played it offline?
Yes, but not extensively. It's just like me and Fats.
Right.
But yeah, no, this I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Like basically, I don't know what's the end goal here. Are we trying to bully Nintendo into recognizing us? Do we even want their help anymore? Or should we just go about doing the things that we've been doing this entire time, which is doing what we do best, running grassroots events that look very similar to large esports events? You know, Genesis looks amazing every year. There's all kind of stuff. We got before they even got those Splatoon tournaments. We were already in the theater for finals. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Got the theater for finals. Big house every year looks great. You know what I mean? Like we SmashCon every year looks great. Do we need Nintendo? Not really. Straight up, not really. I think that the only thing that we want to do is make sure that they don't keep trying to fuck us. But I, at this point in time, I don't think I really want Nintendo's help for our tournaments. I think I'd much rather just continue to run our grassroots events and hope that they just leave us alone. You know?
I think that's the point of the movement, dude. I think it's literally just like we just want Nintendo to leave us alone at this point. We just let us do our thing. Like, imagine all the circuits we could have had if what they said is 100% true, and like they did like stop answering, simple calls just so that Red Bull or Twitch could do something. Like that's all we want. We just want Nintendo to like leave us alone. People always talk about how Nintendo's like that daddy that never loved you, and how like they left and we just want their love in return. But in actuality, like they're doing more than that. Like they come back just to mess with us. So it's tough. I agree with you. I don't think we need Nintendo at all. We just need them to leave us alone. I think I think Smash would have grown exponentially without Nintendo, in my opinion. So it's.
Well, I think that. Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, when you go back and look at everything, then yeah, for sure. Because if all these circuits could have happened, we would have had. I think we would have had
Red
like,
Bull circuit, bro. Like,
I think we would have had Brawlhalla numbers straight up. Like, I mean, the game Smash is just so like fun to watch. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's just so fun to watch.
Agreed.
I say that except for like finals of a 64 match when both people don't want to approach. Other than that, though, like Smash is definitely very fun to watch.
Tell me you don't want to see Mewtwo King's Kirby? Like, come on.
Nah, I'm good on that. I feel like people know. I mean, people know this game, and people knew Smash people without even playing the game. Like even before I started going to tournament events, I knew who Mewtwo King was. Mm-hmm. Like from his Melee days, I knew that man. So, I just if you really feel like, as John Rom said, they said the guy said SSBM is bad for business. That's what he thinks Nintendo thinks. Mm-hmm. If that's how you feel, then let SSBM go do their own thing, right? And then if they're really bad for business, but they're doing their own thing, then it doesn't matter to your business, right? Like they have taken a game that is your business, by the way. Maybe you can't really find Melee anymore, whatever, but it is your business. Like that is a Nintendo franchise game. So even with this old game still being played, I think that I don't really see how any game being played in your business will be bad for business, because I know for a fact that people have jumped games from one another because of watching one game. They're like, you watch Melee, you're like sick. I wonder what's the newest game out. Bam, Ultimate. So you buy Ultimate. You play Ultimate. You're playing Ultimate, whatever. You're having a good time. You're watching Genesis, whatever. Like Melee's finals happens after you watch the Ultimate finals, whatever. Melee's finals is amazing. You're like, wow, this game is dope. I want to play Melee now. So I don't really understand why we're talking about how it's not good for business. It's all in the same umbrella. It's still a Smash game. You can definitely transfer from one Smash game to another. You can still get sales off of it.
It's not just Smash, dude. Like
yeah, it's
Marth being in Melee made Fire Emblem what it is today on the West.
Facts.
Like,
because I didn't know anything about Fire Emblem until Melee.
Same.
So.
I was like, who the hell is this blue-haired dude? And like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, both Melee and Ultimate will do nothing but not only help Smash Ultimate sales, but help any of those Nintendo franchises. Hell, it helps Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is not even for Nintendo. That's
the whole thing about it's a literally a platform fighter with all of your flagship characters and some third-party characters. So like, yes, I think that I end up going back to play Kid Icarus Uprising because of Pit and Brawl. Like,
same.
I was like, wow, this character seems kind of fun. I wonder what else he does. Bam. Kid Icarus Uprising. Game is amazing, by the way. They really do need to make a remake and put that on the Switch. I would put hours into that game.
That game had a competitive scene for a bit, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, it trickles over, man, and I don't understand why you would think that your game, which is full of a bunch of Nintendo flagship characters, would not lead to good business for your other games. Like, I know I've never been interested in Metroid, but seeing Samus and Dark Samus and CSS and knowing that Prime 4 is going to come out, I might be a little interested now. So I don't know, Nintendo, you gotta get your shit together. Basically, that's where I'm at.
Agreed.
That's kind of where I'm at.
So many companies, dude. Like ArcSys and Capcom and like Bandai Namco, they see like these passionate people work around the pandemic and create these online alternatives to playing. Like that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tournament that Twitch versus that just happened the other day. Like that they used a third-party program to play that online, and Capcom supported it. They were just like, yeah, play our old game with not our technology. We support that. For Guilty Gear, they hired the people to add that rollback netcode into Guilty Gear R+.
Yeah,
and it's so cool to see that.
Like, the thing is, like, this whole year has been trash, right? So why would you
make it worse?
Step in and make, like, just put the cherry on top. Like, the whole year has been trash. We haven't been able to go to tournaments. We have to run everything online. Slippy literally was probably made for the sole fact that we had all this time sitting at home, right? And it's like, damn, dude, how do we get back to being able to play Melee in a controlled environment that feels good? Bam, Slippy. Made, done, everyone's playing Melee again. It feels great. But for some reason, Nintendo doesn't want to acknowledge their fans going above and beyond to make their game as accessible and playable as possible, and rather shut it down.
They see it as a negative. They don't see that passion as something that's positive for them, and that hurts, bro. That stings. Like why do you got to keep adding on to all the pain people are suffering this year? Where I haven't seen like any of my Smash friends since freaking March. Like it's been a long time, and like that was a way for people to connect, and now you're taking that away from them a little bit. So it's just like there's something backwards about their thinking, and it really makes me sad. Yeah.
Well, either way, man, that's all we got for this free Melee. Say Smash. I'm definitely gonna ride with the hashtag still. I'm tweeting myself. I just don't get crazy, okay? Like, don't start doing like wild stuff. Just look, we want to me, the end goal is to allow us to play our game freely. We don't need their help. Just let us play the games freely.
Let us take care of it.
Please stop shutting stuff down. We will find ways to monetize it. We will find companies that do want to support it. Just please stop shutting us down and let us play our games. Like, this year has already been hard enough. We're not even sure if we're going to be able to get back to tournaments next year. And it doesn't look like it right now with the holidays coming up and no vaccine in sight. So just at the very least, I mean, this is some people's livelihood. This is some people's getaway, like this is the only thing that gets them like up and out of bed in the morning is to be able to play Smash with their friends. So please, Nintendo, stop trying to shut that down, please.
We're not asking for your support. Like, we would like it, but we don't need it. We just stop hurting us.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, man, this is Hard Reads. It will be up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and their YouTube very soon. I'll tweet it out when it goes up, obviously, if you want to catch the full episode. I'm TKbreezy. Austy, you got any final words?
Nah, man.
Well, you guys, be safe, wear a mask, keep enjoying whatever Smash game you like to play, and have a good night.